All right, this is going to be fun. Here's Craig Button, our NHL analyst, joining us from the Craig Button Mansion somewhere in the beautiful province of Alberta. So the Oilers pick up the win over the team they traded with just 4 days ago. And clearly the storyline going in, Craig, was the fact that the two goalies who were traded for each other were facing each other in this game. However, that was quickly overshadowed by the Oilers' dynamic duo, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, to think that Stuart Skinner and Tristan Jarry playing against their former teams so quickly after the trade, yeah, that's a nice story. But then Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl go not so fast there. We're the lead story, as they should be. Leon Draisaitl with his 1,000th point. I mean, you think about what he has done, but start to think about this, Jay. Think about what he's going to continue to do. I mean, he's well on his way to 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 points in my view. He is so dominant. He is so good. And I really thought that he would get his 1,000th point on a goal against Stuart Skinner. He rang one off the post in the first period. It was really quite surprising when you do it. And then Connor McDavid doing Connor McDavid things off that little feed pass from Draisaitl. Just unbelievable what these two guys do. The superheroes. And the Edmonton Oilers find themselves, they're in a playoff battle. They're in a fight to get into the playoffs. There's this, are they back? Are they close to being back? How far away are they from being back? But when you have McDavid and you have Draisaitl, McDavid now has 20 goals. How about this, Jay? I think Connor McDavid will score 50 goals this season. Early in the season, you're thinking, oh my God, why isn't he scoring? Why isn't he shooting?
Yep.
Now he's on fire, and I think he will score 50. And you think about what they mean to the Edmonton Oilers, what they mean to hockey. Never, ever, when Draisaitl and McDavid are playing, should they be the second part of a story. They should always be the lead story.
Okay, so now that we've gotten to the lead story, let's get to the second part of the story. Because for Jarry, he's looked pretty good. Second win with the Oilers. For Skinner, you feel for Stuart Skinner. He loses in his Penguins debut. What was your takeaway, Craig, watching these two goalies play with their new teams against each other?
Here's what I would say. They were up, they were down. They were up sometimes, down at other times. You know, this is what you got with this trade. Stan Bowman was very clear. We needed a change. So they watched Tristan Jarry. They see a person that might be a little bit better athlete, handle the puck a little bit better. But when you look at the game, and the power play lit up the Penguins, you look at how they started, how they got going on that power play. And so Stuart Skinner's a victim on that. And when you look at Tristan Jarry, you look at somebody that was good, but he gave up some goals and looked a little bit off at times. So when you look at 4 goals against Jarry, 5 goals against Skinner, I don't know if there was one guy that clearly was better than the other guy. And this is kind of where we're going to evaluate this trade going forward. Did the Oilers get better? How much better did they get? Are the Pittsburgh Penguins going to fall off very much with Stuart Skinner? It's very interesting to watch this. What was fascinating is they both were wearing their former team's masks. And I'm not so sure that either one of them are going to mask the problems that might exist in front of them.
It would be cool if they could have just both worn white masks, you know, just like paint them before, you know, with liquid paper or something, Craig. But that's for another time. In Toronto, the Leafs' big comeback win, Craig. They avoid a loss to the Blackhawks. They were outplayed most of the game. And it was interesting because, you know, speaking of the Oilers, after that loss to Edmonton on Saturday, Craig Berube called out his players and said he needed more from his players. Did he get more from his players on Tuesday night, Craig?
Yeah, probably from the last 10 minutes of the game. The first 50 minutes of the game, he wasn't getting very much from his team. And let's be very clear here, Jay. You look at the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs, their team, they're both equals. Toronto isn't way better than Chicago. And you look at a team that was without Bedard playing a game that was really, really good. And certainly you watch, they get the lead early, the Chicago Blackhawks. What does Craig Berube do? He stands one shot on goal. Can you believe that? After we had this discussion, and it didn't get better. But then Oliver Ekman-Larsson, their best defenseman this year by a mile, gets them back on the board. They get a power play, which has been abysmal. William Nylander, great play. And then Matthews, he just picks the corner. And then right off the opening, the face-off, you get the play where it comes right to Dakota Joshua, and that's the game winner. But if you're going to play for 10 minutes, you're not going to win very many games in this league. Give the Leafs credit. Give Austin Matthews, who's been maligned for finding a way to get on the score sheet. And, you know, sometimes you just need a little boost to kind of lift your spirits. And maybe that's what's going to happen for Austin Matthews. I will say this, Jay. When you start to look at where the Toronto Maple Leafs find themselves, Edmonton goes with the McDavid, Draisaitl nuclear option, either with Nugent Hopkins or Hyman. Stop messing around. Just play Nylander and Matthews together. Put Nyes there if you want to. Don't put Nylander down on the third line. Don't saddle Austin Matthews with players that can't play at his level. That's going to be the path forward. And if those guys can get a rhythm together, I think it gives the Toronto Maple Leafs a little bit better chance.
So, Craig, Liam Ogren scored his first as a Vancouver Canuck. Canucks have won both games since the Quinn Hughes trade. And we saw Zeev Buium's debut on Sunday, a goal and an assist. He looked absolutely terrific. So, Craig, I haven't even had a chance to talk to you about this trade since it happened because, as you often point out, I refuse to work on Friday. So, let's break it down. As a former NHL GM, what was your initial reaction to the deal? And what do you think about these players that Canucks have acquired and their potential going forward?
Well, I wasn't surprised that Quinn Hughes got traded. Was surprised that Minnesota Wild were the ones acquiring him because we had heard that there was other teams that might have had a little bit bigger, like more footing inside the Vancouver Canucks door to acquire him. That wasn't the case. Listen, the Vancouver Canucks had to make a trade. They recognized and saw reality. They said, we can't continue on like this. Jim Rutherford, Patrick Alvin canvassed the league. Who's interested? Make your offer. Billy Guerin make a heck of an offer for a superstar player, and you got to give Billy Guerin credit. But the Vancouver Canucks did really, really well. In fact, I think they did a fantastic job. Zeev Buium, to me, in his draft year, I thought he was the best defenseman in that draft. I think he's got the type of efficiency in his game, thinking in his game, skating in his game that Scott Niedermayer had. I'm not calling him Scott Niedermayer, but Scott Niedermayer was great. But I think Zeev Buium has a lot of those qualities. Marco Rossi's a second-line center. That takes pressure off of EP 40, and 60 points is nothing to sneeze at. Liam Ogren is a great leader, great character guy, strong. I see him as a third-line guy. We'll see what they do with the first-round draft pick. But nobody in Vancouver is going, oh, yeah, we're going to trade Quinn Hughes. Yeah, we got to get him out of here. It became reality that they had to move him. I think they did a really nice job. And by getting the players they did, you start to look, goaltending, you got Thatcher and Lankinen. Then you have the two Petterssons, you have Hronek, you have Wilander, and now you have Buium on the blue line. Up front, you got enough skill, you got players now in the right slots. I think that the Vancouver Canucks can have some uplift in the direction they want to go towards with this trade. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the next 2 months or 3 months. But I think they're on the right path because they've been a competitive team.
I like that assessment, Craig. Canucks will take on the Islanders in Long Island Friday. Oilers will be in Boston Thursday. Leafs will be in D.C. to face the Capitals on Thursday. Craig, this was fun. Did you have a good time?
I always have a good time with you, Jay. And you don't refuse to work on Fridays. You work so hard from Sunday to Thursday, they got to give you Friday and Saturday off to rejuvenate.
I agree, Craig. I agree 100%.
Load management, they call it at TSN.